Sorry, guys. Today is going to be a little bit slapdash. We've been very busy going through old closer looks and replacing every time I said Donald Trump with Chuck Schumer. Might work. In general, I don't have to tell you, there's been a lot going on this week. It's very stressful. On top of everything else, my dog just died. We said this shirt was embroidered. It is silk screened. We said this pillow was embroidered. It is cross-stitched. Also, there was a joke about how I had to stop doing this because inflation was so high that sewing machines became too expensive. And someone correctly pointed out, but like, you already own the sewing machine. Like, why would you stop? Like, if a sewing machine gets more expensive and you already own it, you don't have to stop. The person who wrote that said, "Can you please give me a shout out?" That was Jake from Philly. And by the way, if I find out it's Tapper, I swear to God. We researched this before we made the joke. Five Guys does not serve egg sandwiches in the United States, save for a few airport locations. It also does serve them in England, but of course the difference there is it's called Five Blokes. We talked about my new egg coin because we thought it'd be cool if people had a way to invest in eggs. Someone said you can invest in eggs the way you invest in stocks. It's called egg futures. Just say chickens. And then, of course, chicken futures are eggs. And no, Shoemaker, I don't know which one came first. I like the ones where, I like the ones that don't land. You might be like, oh, swing and a miss, not for me. Goes to FDR ruled last week and none of you liked it. Fine with me. So we actually had a joke about how Australian Santa's sleigh was pulled by dingoes. And it turns out it's not. It's pulled by kangaroos. This is what a lot of Australians say, but they're actually called a six-white boomer. A boomer is a colloquialism for kangaroos. A boomer has a pouch, can jump 3 meters in a single bound, and is super into Steely Dan. We had a great Back in My Day last week. Ben wrote it, and someone said, hey, I thought the rule was if Ben wrote something, he's in it. Well, he was. He was operating the coffee cup. Someone wrote in, why did the coffee cup have a mouth but talk out of the top of its head? That doesn't make any sense. And
Who said that?
oh, hey, coffee cup.
Who said that? Who said the way I talk doesn't make sense?
I don't write down the names of people who leave comments. Also, like, why do you want to know?
Oh, I just want to have a talk with them. A talk about how to be polite, how to not hurt feelings. Because when feelings get hurt, other things get hurt too.
Coffee cup, I don't like the way you're talking.
Ah! And I don't want to listen to your advice. Now listen up, jackals. I know Seth gets off on your little comments about how he's a naughty little bad little boy. But I'm a man. I'm a grown-ass man. And I don't want your feedback. So the next time you got something to say about me, I want you to think real hard. And maybe keep it to yourself. You got it?
Yeah, we got it.
All right. Well, in that case...
Hasta la vista, baby.
Take the wide. Take the wide. Show Ben. I texted Ben at 11:30 today, and I said, "Can you come in for corrections?" And then at 1:30, I wrote question mark. And then at 1:45, he said, "Sorry, yesterday was my birthday." So obviously, I was a little worried it'd be janky because he wasn't available for rehearsal. This is exciting news. There's a sequel to the movie. We did a scene from a movie last week about the people who had to remove the buttholes from cats. Well, there's a sequel to that movie. No ifs, ands, or buttholes 2. And we have a scene from that movie. So again, we remember the scenes, like a guy and his, beer bottles on. You could tell he's had a rough night. And the phone rings, and he lets it ring a few times. Then he answers. He's like, "Hello." It's like, "Jake, it's Craddock. What part of lose my number do you not understand, Craddock? We got a situation, Jake. We brought in a team to erase the buttholes. But they erased the cats, Jake. And what, Craddock? Just spit it out. They left the buttholes, Jake." Now, this was the part where I was going to have Tara Donnelly make a graphic of just a cat's butthole singing Memory. But we didn't do that because I just couldn't bring myself to write that email. Because the only way to describe it would be the way I just described it to you, and I just didn't feel like that was a proper workplace email. So sorry, there's no big payoff. Oh, this is interesting. A bunch of you pointed something out, and because I was talking about the difference between my Rodney Dangerfield and my Sylvester Stallone. And, obviously we established a tie as a very important part of my Rodney impression. And they said it should be a part of your Stallone impression as well. And they're right. So it's like, "Hey, I tell you. And then you do this. Ah! Also, someone said my Stallone sounds like my Rudy. That's nuts. Everyone knows my Rudy is this. "Just put me in for one play, coach." People say I look bad in hats. Football. Great Andrea Witzer, mother to Mike Witzer sound mixer. It's really, we had one accident. As we know, Andrea makes edible things, and we had a minor issue. But it's not. I don't have any. I think a lot of the Emmy winners can't do this. I remember wondering how I looked at the Emmys. I look pretty fancy. Here's my date. Also, somebody said a very sweet note, like saying, "I'm sorry you didn't win the Emmy, but to make up for it, I know how much you like Jules from the famous sketch, and And all I can say as I'm showing you these little jewels is probably not the best week to send them in as the week that Andrea Witzer sent in hers. You guys, I fibbed. I did email Tara. And here it is. See me next week.